Hello everyone, ARG back with some more Franchise Hockey Manager 8. And today, of course, we are going to continue our quest towards the Stanley Cup, hopefully. And it starts with the last month of 1991 today, so December of 1991 is right about to be played. We have Gary Galley that's hurt. It's 1 to 2 weeks, so I didn't put him on the injured reserve just in case. I'm hoping that he's gonna get a speedy recovery. It's gonna be difficult without Gary Galley. He's pretty much our only puck-moving defenseman that we have at the moment, so that's not gonna be an easy task. Looks like we're not playing that many games in December. Lots of days off and everything. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. As far as training goes, as usual, I took a look at what's on the trading block. There's actually a few interesting players on the trading block, but I cannot go for them. Guys like Joe Mullen, for example, are available, but I cannot go for them. Plus, I wouldn't want to give Calgary some players that can come and beat me later. So I'm standing put. For the next time out for January, I think that I'm going to maybe force myself into a trade. I'm gonna need to do something to improve the team a little bit. I'm lacking depth, so I don't really have a problem filling the team per se with that extra challenge, the ARG factor, if you want to call it that way. But I've been struggling to have depth on my team. As soon as I have a couple injuries, I'm kind of in trouble. So I'm lacking depth at forward and on D. So yeah. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and play December today. And we are 4th in the conference. We are 5 points behind the Flames, and we have played one more game than they have. We are also 3 points behind the Oilers, and we have played one more game than they have. So we're gonna need to have a good month of December. We have like that long stretch of home games. Hopefully that means that we can capitalize on that. Looks like there's quite a few teams on the schedule that should being the key word, but they should be winnable games, so hopefully that happens. But anyway, that's enough talking for now. I hope that everybody is having a great new year so far, and that nobody has broken their resolutions for the year already. We're only 5 days in. Alright, let's get going. Gary Galley already moved to day for his injury, so yeah, we'll see. Alright, Bruce McNall is only satisfied now. We went 6-3-4 last month, so again a winning month, but we're tying a lot. That's a thing. Alright, so we are now going to be AFJ. What's up, buddy? Happy New Year. A little late, but Happy New Year nonetheless. Right, so we're going to start December with a game in San Jose against the Sharks. The Sharks are 6-16-5, and that's good for 10th in the conference. We have kind of struggled against the Sharks this season. We are 1-1-1 against them so far, so not exactly the record I would hope for after 3 games against them. I doubt it. What happened for you, man? Alright, so let's see if we can beat the Sharks this time. We have almost a full team. Oh, dear God, that's not good. Hopefully you weren't drinking, right? Francois Gravel is going to be in net for us, and Glenn Ely is going to be in net for San Jose. All right, go Kings. Give me a W to start the month, please. A 12-5 victory. Okay, yeah, that still sucks. So is your car totaled, or is it recoverable? Are you able to get it fixed? Alright, so bear with me, that's going to take a while to go through that one. We scored 12 goals, folks. That doesn't happen very often, despite having a really good offense. Alright, so we outshot the Sharks 60-24 in that one. Wayne Gretzky was the first star of the game. He had 5 goals and an assist. Luc Robitaille was the second star with a goal and 4 assists. And Mike Gartner was the third star with 5 assists. Man, that sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's not good. Alright, so we opened up the scoring in the first. Scott Arniel scored on the power play from Ray Shepard and Alexei Gusarov. Then Wayne Gretzky scored his 25th on the power play from Mike Gartner and Luc Robitaille. 2-0 Kings after 1. So are your parents going to help you with that or something? Because I'm guessing that, you know, working kind of part-time is not really going to do it. Alright, then in the second period, the Kings scored again. So Ray Shepard scored unassisted, made it 3-0. Then the Sharks scored, and then we scored 3. Randy Wood from Wayne Gretzky and Ray Shepard. Then Luc Robitaille scored his 20th from Adam Burt and Mike Gartner. Then Andrew Castle scored from Gerald Dedock and Alexei Gusarov. Made it 6-1. Then the Sharks scored, made it 6-2 Kings after 2. Then in the third period, we scored again. Gerald Dedock from Ron Duguay and Gary Valk made it 7-2. Then the Sharks scored. Then Wayne Gretzky scored from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner, made it 8-3. The Sharks scored, made it 8-4. Then Randy Wood scored from Ray Shepard and Robert Reichel. It was 9-4 at that point. Then Wayne Gretzky scored, completed his hat trick from Alexei Gusarov and Luc Robitaille. It was 10-4. Wayne Gretzky scored again on the power play from Alexei Gusarov and Mike Gartner. It was 11-4. The Sharks scored again, made it 11-5. And then Wayne Gretzky scored 16 seconds later from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner. It was a 12-5 game. That was the end of the game. Marty McSorley fought against Adam Burt, probably out of pure frustration. And then Jay Caulfield and Joe Ricci also fought. That's the end of the game. Alright, well, at least you got a little bit of support. That's good. You're not, you know, absolutely completely, you know, knee deep in poo-poo. Alright, strong game from Mike Gartner. As we saw, he had 5 assists. Gretzky had 5 goals and an assist. That was also pretty good. Alexei Gusarov also had a strong game. He had 4 assists. Excellent passing lead, super productive night for Luc Robitaille, who had a goal and 4 assists in that same game. Perry Turnbull against us had a good game. He had a hat trick. Al McKinnis extends his point streak to 14 games with 2 assists against the Red Wings. And that was 13 straight games with an assist from him. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 28. He had 2 assists against the Canucks. And Mark Vermette extends his goal streak to 5 games in that same game. Yeah. That still sucks. And maybe more importantly, are you okay? Did you get hurt in that? Probably what I should have asked first, but I mean, you're there and you're able to talk, so at least I know you're not in a coma. At least, probably not. No further action needed for Toronto's Neil Sheehy, so not suspended over there. Wendell Clarke extends his assist streak to 8 games with a goal and an assist against the Whalers. Memorable game for Rob Brown, now playing in Minnesota. He had a hat-trick against the Blues. Brian Marchment is suspended. In Winnipeg, he's going to miss 6 games. And big game for Pat Ellenuk in Winnipeg as well. He had 3 goals and an assist in that same game against Buffalo. And I noticed that Rick Green is a day-to-day with a swollen ear. What the heck happened there? Does he have the mumps? Okay, alright, well that's good. I would have felt terrible if you would have told me that, you know, you have a broken leg or something. Alright, so we are now in Chicago to play against the Blackhawks. Blackhawks are 11-13-3, and that's good for 7th in the conference. We have not played Chicago so far this season, so let's take a look at who they have on their roster. Alright, so Mike Hudson is hurt, not gonna play, and Dave Manson is also hurt, not gonna play. So Dave Manson and Mike Hudson are out. Oh, there's 2 more out here. Brian Noonan not gonna play, and Denis Savard also not gonna play. Alright, so Blackhawks have Ed Belfour and Wendell Young in net, then Doug Wilson, Richard Matvichuk, Chris Dahlquist, Adam Foote, Bob Wilkie, sorry, and Trent Yanni are on D. Up front they have Dirk Graham, Everett Sanipas, Steve Thomas, Arwood, Venslet, Eagles, Murray, Jeremy Roenick, Denis Savard, but he's hurt, Mike Stapleton, Jensen, Larmer, Jocelyn Lemieux, Brian Noonan, but he's hurt, and Wayne Presley. Alright. Yeah, your pride was hurt. Well, we all have to hurt it at least a few times during our lifetimes. It seems to be up for the par for most people. Alright, let's see if we can get another good win here. So François Gravel in net for us, Ed Belfour in net for the Blackhawks. Go Kings! Alright, another win. 5-4 in overtime, the victory for the Kings there against the Blackhawks. So of course it's 1991, so the Blackhawks do not get a point out of this. Yes, unless you adhere to the train of thought that shitty stuff always happens in threes. I know, like so I lost Glenn Ely to the expansion draft for San Jose. So I was like, well, Gravel is gonna be the backup for Irby. Irby played like 70 games last year, so you know he's not gonna be playing much. And of course, in good old franchise hockey manager fashion, he's the starter for whatever reason. Even though Irby won the Vizina last year, who knows? Alright, so Chicago outshot us 35-26 in that game. Ray Shepherd was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Troy Murray was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Luc Robitaille was the third star with 2 goals. Luc Robitaille opened up the scoring in the first from Ray Shepherd and Adam Burt. And then the Blackhawks tied the game. It was tied at 1 after 1. Oh yeah, that's why you told me to pick him up, huh? You just knew that he would be that great. Alright, then in the second period, Brian Glynn scored what I believe is his first NHL goal from Ray Shepherd and Mike Ridley. It was 2-1. Oh, maybe not his first NHL goal. That's right. I didn't sign him as a free agent or anything like that. I picked him up on waivers draft. But anyway, that's his first goal of this season. Ray Shepherd, Mike Ridley get the assist. It was 2-1 Kings after 2. Then in the third period, the Blackhawks scored, tied the game. Then we scored twice. Luc Robitaille from Wayne Gretzky and Joel Deduck. And then Scott Arniel scored his fifth from Alexander McGillney and Andrew Castles. It was 4-2 Kings, but then the Blackhawks tied the game before the end of the third period. So it was 4-4 going into overtime. There was also a fight between Dirk Graham and Joe Rickey. And in overtime, Andrew Castles played the hero from Alexei Gusarov and Alexander McGillney, 5-4 the final score. Why, I've never seen either of them in any room, so, you know. Joe Sakic extends his point streak to 29 games. What a streak for Joe Sakic. A goal and an assist against the Bruins. Al McKinney's point streak ended at 14 games. It was held scoreless against the Devils. And of course his assist streak also ended at 13 games. Gary Nylund is back from suspension with the Devils. And Mario Lemieux extends his goal streak to 5 games with 2 goals against the Sharks. Right, one more day off, and then we're going to be in Quebec City to play against the Nordiques. Murray Craven has been put on the block, which I saw when I was looking at the players on the block before the start of the video, but I cannot go for him, so it is of little interest to me. Alright, we are in Quebec City to play against the Nordiques. Nordiques are pretty good so far this season, finally, and Joe Sakic, as we just saw, is on a complete tear. We're going to try to stop him from getting points in his 30th straight game. We have not played the Nordiques so far this season. They are 17-10, good for 34 points. Let's take a look at them here. Well, that's going to help. They have no injuries, so they are rolling with all of their best players. So in net, it's Daniel Bertium and former LA King Rolly Melanson. On D, they have Tommy Albeline. They have Bruce Bell, Stephen Finn, Randy Gregg, Ken Hammond, Curtis Lesishin, Jeff Brown, Nick Lidstrom, and Randy Veliscek. Up front, they have Gaetan Duchesne, Michel Goulet, Maikov, Walt Podobny, Bob Basson, Paul Gillis, Joe Sakic, Peter Stachny, Dusan Pashek, Anton Stachny, Mark Vermette, and Charlie Simmer. Kind of curious. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So, Bob Basson played shortly for the Nordiques in real life, but it was a little bit later than where we are right now. I was just wondering if they got him around the same time, but I had a feeling that it was a little bit more towards the end of the Nordiques, which it was. Alright, so can we stop Joe Sakic? Let's see. François Gravel still in net for us. Daniel Bertium is facing us. And of course, go Kings! We won 5-1, so Joe Sakic had one opportunity to get points because the Nordiques only scored 1 goal. Oh man. Gilbert Perrault, Marcel Dion, and Joe Sakic on the same team. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, the Canucks are not, in my save, are not doing too bad either. They have Mike Modano, Jaromir Jagr, and Scott Niedermayer, so that's also not too shabby. Yeah, poor Marcel Dion never won a cup. Alright, 5-1 win. The Nordiques did outshoot us 39-35, so we can say thank you to bidding superstar François Gravel for that one. Mike Gartner was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. François Gravel was the second star with 38 saves, and the W. Randy Ladouceur was the third star with a goal and an assist. Alexei Gusarov opened up the scoring on the power play. That was his 5th of the season from Wayne Gretzky and Mike Gartner. It was 1-0 Kings after 1. Then in the second period, Wayne Gretzky scored his 30th from Luc Robitaille and Randy Ladouceur. It was 2-0 Kings after 2. There was a fight between Anton Stastny and Adam Burt. And we did it. We stopped Joe Sakic's streak. He didn't get a point on the Nordiques goal. So we did that. I always feel a little bit of pride when that happens. Alright, so the Nordiques scored early in the third period. It was a 2-1 game for the Kings at that point. Scott Arniel then scored for us from Mike Gartner and Alexei Gusarov. Mike Ridley scored short-handed in an empty net from Randy Wood and Gerald Deduck. Made it 4-1, and then Randy Ladouceur scored on that same short-handed opportunity from Mike Gartner and Dan Gratton. It was 5-1. And it was the end of the game, so yeah. A nice 5-1 victory. Oh man. Can you imagine if that would have happened in real life? That would have been awesome for the Nordiques. Maybe the Nordiques would still be there. Who knows? Oh, Yuri Erdina has been put on waivers by the Canucks. I cannot go for him, but he might still be a useful player, I don't know. Then Scott Bustad has also been put on waivers by the Minnesota North Stars. Joe Sakic's point streak ended at 29 games. As we say, didn't get a point against us. Strong night for Paul Coffey. He had 5 assists against the Blues. And Wendell Clarke extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against the Canucks. Yep. That is true. I would have been really happy with the Nordiques winning the cup so much back in those days. Alright, so we have 4 days off. We're going back home, and then we're going to have 4 days off before we play against the Winnipeg Jets. That's going to give us time to get Gary Galley and Rick Green back, hopefully. No further discipline for New York's James Patrick, and no suspension for him. Gary Galley is feeling better. Rick Green is feeling better. Rick Green is completely recovered. And Wendell Clarke's assist streak ended at 9 games. He was held scoreless against the Montreal Canadiens. Oh, Garth Butcher is suspended in San Jose. He's going to be missing 7 games. And Gary Galley is still starting to do better. No. He is not. Actually, he's on the block, I believe. Oh, where is he? Oh, yeah, that's true. He's, Whoa. Okay, I totally didn't do, that was weird. Alright, Gary Galley is feeling better. Oh, they sent him down. Oh. So not only is he not an elite goaltender in my sim, but he's in the AHL. Well, Ashik is Ashik, so... All right. So Galley can play. I don't know that he will. He's still hurt, but it's a playable injury at this point. We are hosting the Jets. Jets are 9-16-5, so struggling a little bit in Winnipeg. They are 9th in the conference. As for us, despite winning our first 3 games of December, we are still 4th in the conference. Although now we have game on hands, so... Oh dear God, the 78 game. Well, back then, I mean, who is it that played around that? I know Brother and I think Grant Fior, like for St. Louis or something, played like almost every single game one season. Let's look it up. I'm pretty sure it was Grant Fior. Yeah, Grant Fior in 95-96 played 79 games for the Blues. Ooh, that's a lot of hockey. Alright, we are 1-1-1 against the Jets, in case I did not mention that. Alright, the Jets are going to go with Cujo in net. We are going to go back to François Gravel. And of course, go Kings. We're back home. Let's give our fans a win. Oh, overtime win, but it's a win nonetheless. 3-2 win here in Inglewood for the Kings. We outshot Winnipeg 47-30. Joe Rickey was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Ron Wilson was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Alexander Mckinney was the third star with a goal and an assist as well. We had a sellout crowd in Inglewood today. Jets scored first in the first. It was 1-0 Winnipeg after 1. Then Scott Arneal scored in the second period from Alexander Mckinney and Joe Rickey, tied at 1 after 2. Then Alexander Mckinney scored in the third from Joe Rickey and Gary Galley. It was 2-1 Kings at that point, but with 1 minute left to go in the game, the Jets tied the game at 2. That went to overtime where Gary Volk played the hero from Robert Reichel. It was a 3-2 victory. Oh, the unsung tale of Brian Hayward. Wendell Clarke has a great game. He had a hat trick against the Flyers, and Gary Galley is fully recovered. All right, perfect. So we didn't struggle too much without Gary. Hey, is it last year or the year before that I had Jamie McLennan have that crazy run for the Flyers? I think it was last year. So it was... sometimes you just have a player like that that defies what they did in real life, and I think that's kind of cool. Big game for Mark Recchi. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Devils. Brian Leach is injured. Oh, he's out for 2 months, 8 weeks due to a neck laceration. Oh, that's going to hurt the blue shirts there. They lost their best defenseman for 2 months. And the Blues are trying to trade Mark Napier. All right, we are now hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks are 8-19-5. That's good for dead last in the conference. We are 1-1 against the Canucks this season. Let's see if we can beat them. Frank Pietrangelo is in net for the Canucks. François Gravel is in net for us. Go Kings! Oh, see, I went a little bit more jokingly with my Go Kings and we lost, so I need to stop doing that. That's a 5-2 loss against the worst team in the conference. So we're actually 1-2 against them so far this season. Looks like we're struggling against the bad teams. We outshot Vancouver 38-37. Petri Skriko was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Doug Lidster was the second star with a goal. And Frank Pietrangelo was the third star with 36 saves and the W, of course. We had a sellout crowd for that one in Inglewood. So how's your save doing? Have you been playing video games to put your mind away from your car crash, or? Alright, so the Canucks scored twice in the first, then Luc Robitaille scored on the power play from Mike Gartner and Ray Shepard. It was 2-1 Canucks after one. Joe Rickey got into a fight with Mike Hartman. Then in the second period, the Canucks scored again. It was 3-1 Canucks after two. Then they scored early in the third, made it 4-1. Then Gary Volk scored short-handed from Randy Wood and Brian Glynn. It was 4-2 Vancouver, and then they added one more goal, and then forget it, we lost 5-2. Gerald Deduck and Mike Hartman got into a fight, and then Randy Ladouceur and Rob Zettler got into a fight as well. No further discipline for New York's James Patrick, not suspended. I think that's like twice in like a week that he's looked at. Paul Coffey extends his assist streak to 8 games with a goal and an assist against the Capitals. Dave Gagne has a memorable game for Minnesota. He had 3 goals and 3 assists against the Sharks. Yeah, that's indeed a pretty good performance. Oh man. You just don't feel like playing, or like are you like struggling with anxiety or something, or what's going on? Alright, 2 days off, and then we're going to be hosting the Minnesota North Stars. Oh, passes on point for Guy Carbonneau with the Montreal Canadiens. He had 4 assists against the St. Louis Blues. Oh, okay, well that explains it then. That explains it then. Yeah, I haven't been home. It's gonna be 3 years since I've been home in May already. That's crazy. Oh yeah? Are you still playing third base for the Orioles? Alright, so we're now hosting Minnesota. They are 15-13-2. That's good for 5th in the conference. They are right behind us. And we are 0-1 against them. It was a 5-5 tie the first time we played them. So one of our many ties this season. Let's see if we can beat them this time. Bob Essensa is going to be in net for Minnesota. François Gravel in net for us. Go Kings! Oh, sorry, no. Go Kings! Ah, see? That's a 7-4 win. Attitude is everything. What season are you in? Alright, so a 7-4 win for us against the North Stars. We outshot them 41-37. Randy Wood was the first star of the game. He had a goal and 2 assists. Mike Ridley was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Luc Robitaille was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. Another sellout crowd here in Inglewood. Minnesota opened up the scoring in the first, then Mike Gartner scored from Luc Robitaille and Wayne Gretzky, and then Andrew Castle scored on the power play from Alexei Gusarov and Scott Arniel. 2-1 Kings, but Minnesota tied the game before the end of the first period. We had a fight between Adam Burt and Mark Hardy. Then in the second period, the North Stars scored. It was 3-2 Minnesota. Then we scored twice. Randy Wood from Mike Ridley and Ray Shepherd tied the game. Then Luke Robitaille on the power play from Wayne Gretzky and Mike Gartner. We had a 1-goal lead. Then Minnesota tied the game. And then 23 seconds before the end of the period, Mike Ridley gave us the lead back from Randy Wood and Ray Shepherd. 5-4 Kings after 2. Then in the third period, we added 2 more goals. Mike Gartner scored his 15th from Wayne Gretzky and Luke Robitaille, and then Gary Volk scored short-handed in an empty net from Randy Wood and Rick Green. 7-4, the final score. And Alexei Gusarov is hurt. Okay, he's day-to-day with foot soreness. Should be okay. Third season just cracked the roster. Do they still have a losing team, or are they starting to turn it around for the first time in a very long time? It's one of the toughest divisions in baseball. Oh, Stuart Gavin is suspended in that game against us. He's going to miss 2 games. Dino Ciccarelli extended his goal streak to 5 games against us with a goal and an assist. Brian Marchment is back from suspension in Winnipeg. And Paul Coffey's assist streak ended at 8 games. Didn't get a point against San Jose. That sucks. One thing that I noticed in the MLB The Show, like when you play the career mode, and it's been in that since forever because I've been playing it since like MLB The Show 9 or something, is that your team always makes more trades than any other team. Like I go like religiously after every start, I go and I check, and your team always makes more trades, so you always end up with like a really weird roster compared to other teams. Like other teams are gonna have like players that you're like, oh okay, yeah, you know, I can kind of. Your team always ends up with like a bunch of mismatched players, if I can put it that way. I don't know why it is like that. All right. Now with that being said, we're going to go ahead and advance here. We have a few days off before we play against the Red Wings. Rick Tocchet extends his goal streak to 5 games with a goal and an assist against the Rangers. Another day off. Oh, the North Stars have put Brian McClellan on the trading block. Yeah, it's I found that I have more fun playing the franchise mode in MLB The Show if I leave everything to the computer, like trades and everything, and that I just mess with the lineups and everything, and that I just go and play with pitch counts on. I did that. I had some fun. That way the games don't take forever to play, and you know, since the mode doesn't have near the depth that Out of the Park Baseball has, I don't have to worry about that, and I can just do the one thing that I cannot do in Out of the Park Baseball, which is to actually, you know, play the game. So, all right, Red Wings are in town. They are 11-18-5, so struggling a little bit there in Detroit. They are 8 in the conference. We are 2-0 against the Wings this season. Let's make it 3-0. Let's get another W. Now, shall we? Tim Chevelday is going to be in net for the Red Wings. François Gravel in net for the Kings. He's been in net for every single game so far this month. Go Kings! 3-1 win. All right, we'll take that. So a nice 3-1 victory on home ice. We outshot Detroit 42-27. Wayne Gretzky was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Chris Contos, former King, was the second star with an assist, and Gerald Deduck was the third star with a goal. Another sellout crowd in Inglewood today. Gerald Deduck opened up the scoring in the first from Andrew Castles. It was 1-0 for the Kings. After one, we had a fight between Adam Burt and Steve Chiasson. And in the second period, the Red Wings tied the game, but then Wayne Gretzky gave us the lead back from Joe Rickey and Robert Reichel. It was 2-1 Kings after 2. And then in the third period, Wayne Gretzky scored again from Scott Arniel and Randy Ladouceur. It was 3-1, and we had a fight between Adam Burt and Ken Saburon. That was a nice little 3-1 victory. And Gary Galley is hurt again. That's not good. How long is he hurt for? Day to day, alright. We should be good. I thought about that too. That's a lot of work though, but of course you could do that. Now what would be cool with that is that I could do that with my fictional universe, and we could save that as a roster, and then we could download each other's rosters and, you know, play with that way. That could be cool. But that would be a lot of work. I don't have that kind of time anymore. When I was your age, that's something that I would have done. I can guarantee you that that's something that I would have done. I would have stayed up all night, do one team, then, you know, stay up all night, the next day do another team. Alright, Gary Galley is day-to-day with a stinger. Glenn Anderson is hurt in Edmonton. He's going to be out for... Oh, they don't say, but he has a ruptured UCL. That's gonna be at least 6 months, I would think. Yeah. It says indefinite, usually that's over 6 months. Zeno Cesarelli extends his goal streak to 6 games with 2 goals against the Flyers. Strong game for Tom Curvers. He had a hat-trick against the Chicago Blackhawks. Pretty good. Dave Taylor, former King legend in real life, played in his 1000th game. Sadly, that wasn't in a Kings uniform. Sorry, JT Dutch. No points for Dave Taylor in that game. That was against the Toronto Maple Leafs. 36 years old, Dave Taylor is a 2.5-star player. And Steve Yzerman signs an extension with Detroit, a 7-year extension for $10.43 million total. Yeah, it would take well over a week because, well, how much in depth are you going to go? Are you just going to do the main rosters, or are you also going to do the minors? Because even if MLB The Show doesn't have, you know, single A ball, it still has double A and triple A. That's a lot of players to create. Alright, Mike McHugh is on waivers. I will not and cannot pick him up. Steve Duchesne is suspended in Philadelphia. He's going to miss 3 games. Good night for Larry Murphy. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Flyers in that same game. Yeah, if you do the minor leagues, it's gonna take forever. That's a very long endeavor, but I did think about doing it. It did cross my mind. When I was so alright, so sorry for people that are watching this on YouTube. I'm gonna, you know, stop here for a second. So when I was unemployed, I got the good old MVP Baseball 05 on the PS2 because to me, that's still one of the best baseball games ever made. That's the last, MLB game that EA Sports made. And yes, I know EA Sports sucks, but back then their baseball games were pretty good. And MVP 05 was pretty good, a pretty good baseball game. And I sat for weeks. So I went to in Baseball Reference, and I looked at all of the transactions that were made prior to the game that season starting, to make sure that all of the rosters were according to what they were back then. And of course, back then they had the issue with players that played during the lockout or something like that couldn't be part of the Baseball Player Association, guys like Kevin Miller and everything. So I went and edited all of those guys with the real names, and it took forever, and that's all I did. So imagine taking your out of the park baseball universe and turning it into a MLB The Show. That's gonna take you a long time, but if you do, let me know. Alright, so it's Christmas break back in Franchise Hockey Manager. I apologize for that little parentheses. John McClain has a great game. He had a hat trick against the Rangers, and Alexei Gusarov is starting to feel better. It is December 24th. There shouldn't be any games today. Oh, Merry Christmas, Darcy Wakaluk. You've been put on waivers. What a great Christmas. Oh, Merry Christmas, Wendell Young. You've also been put on waivers. Alright, Gary Galley back soon. That would be great. And Gusarov on the brink of returning. Yeah, creating all of the players from scratch would take a while. Yes, you can import logos into the game. You can create your own as well. Like, I think it was in NHL 99, I believe. So NHL 99 had kind of that feature, I guess, that you could create a player. So let's say I would want to create a player that would be of similar ability to Jeff Sanderson, for example. So I would create Jeff Sanderson, and it would like create Jeff Sanderson like and all of the ratings, and then I just had to change the name. So if MLB The Show would have something like that, that would be great. Like, if you have a pitcher that's like, oh, that pitcher is kind of like I don't know, like Jacob DeGrom, then you can just put Jacob DeGrom, and then it creates all of the template, and you just change the name. You could save time like that, but I don't think that it's something that would happen. All right, December 26th, we are hosting the San Jose Sharks. Yeah, we've had our struggles against the Sharks, despite them being an expansion team. We have not been crushing them every single game. We did crush them last game, 12-5, though. So the Sharks are now 8-24-5. That's good for a dead last in the conference. And we are 2-1-1 against the Sharks. Let's see if we are able to perform here after Christmas, or if our bellies are filled with turkey and other stuff. Former King Glenn Healy is in net for the Sharks. François Gravel is in net for us. Go Kings! Another 12-5 win would be pretty cool. Ugh, 4-1 loss. Breaks my heart. Oh yeah. You're gonna get confused if you don't do it that way. Plus, after you're done with one team, it's like a good stopping point. You can save that and do something else, because it's mentally exhausting as well to do something like that. A 4-1 loss against the Sharks. Yet again, we struggle against bad teams. We take them too lightly, I guess. That's a leadership problem. Oh dear God, we outshot them 45-16. What the heck? What the hell? Alright, so Perry Turnbull was the first star of the game. He had 3 goals and an assist. Glenn Ely was the second star with 44 saves. He stole the show. And Jay Caulfield was the third star with 3 assists. Sellout crowd for that disappointing showing for the Kings. Nobody scored in the first period. Then in the second period, the Sharks scored twice. Then in the third period, they scored again. Then late in the third, Ray Shepherd scored his 10th on the power play from Luke Robitaille and Mike Gartner. It was 3-1, but then the Sharks scored in an empty net. It was 4-1. That's very disappointing. And there was a fight between Joe Rickey and Perry Turnbull. And Randy Ladouceur is hurt. I don't know about frustrating. Like if you can get your computer next to your computer next to your console, you can get set up in a way that it wouldn't be too confusing. So I don't know about the frustrating part, but tedious might be the better word. I don't know that you would get frustrated, you would just feel that you're doing tedious work. Alright, hopefully Randy Ladouceur is not hurt for too long. 1 to 2 weeks. Back stiffness. Alright, we're gonna need to look at that. Perry Turnbull has a strong game. As we saw, he had 3 goals and an assist against us. Garth Butcher is back from suspension in San Jose, back in the lineup. Pat Verbeek is hurt in New Jersey. He's going to be out for 4 weeks with a bruised kneecap. In that same game, Kirk Muller had 3 goals and 2 assists. That was against the Islanders. Dino Ciccarelli extends his goal streak to 7 games with a goal against the Winnipeg Jets. Stuart Gavin is back from suspension in Minnesota. Gary Galley is feeling better, and so is Alexei Gusarov. Alright, let's take a look at Randy Ladouceur. Yeah. 1 to 2 weeks, I'm not going to put him on the injured reserve. Again, I carry 2 extra defensemen, so I'm not at a point where I need to recall somebody. I don't have much depth anyway, so you stay on the roster, buddy. If we're lucky, you'll be ready sooner rather than later. Wow. That is crazy. So the Sabres put Tom Barrasso on the trading block, and he was traded immediately to Chicago, and then Chicago put him on waivers. I swear there's some roster logic flaws in this game. Alright, so Tom Barrasso was put on the block. Then Buffalo traded Tom Barrasso to the Blackhawks for Peter Nedved. And then Chicago places Tom Barrasso on waivers right after trading for him because, you know. Alright, so Tom Barrasso is on waivers. I cannot go for him. Sadly, it's not like Andy Moog. I could go for Andy Moog, but I cannot go for Tom Barrasso. So I would love to be able to go for Tom Barrasso, but I cannot. Alright, so we have 2 very important games here before the end of the month. So we have 3 games left to play. We have 2 road games that are very important for the standings here. We are going to be playing in Edmonton. We are chasing them in the standings. We are 4 points behind. Keep in mind, we've had a pretty decent month, but the Oilers have been even better. So we have 3 games on the Oilers. We're 4 points back. We're playing the Oilers in Edmonton. We are 0-3 against the Oilers. Every single game was a 4-4 tie so far this season. I played them 3 times. The 3 times it was a 4-4 tie. Are we going to see a winner today? Or is it going to be another 4-4 tie? Oh, Artus Irbe is going to be in net for that one. Bill Ranford is going to be in net for the Oilers. Go Kings! Come on. Oh, we lost 9-4. Yeah, it was a tiebreaker and not a good one. We got our ass kicked. Oh wow, again it was goaltending that did us. Artus Irbe is just struggling. We outshot Edmonton 38-35. Mark Messier was the first star of the game. He had 3 goals and 2 assists. Craig McTavish was the second star with a goal and 3 assists. And Yari Curry was the third star with a goal and 3 assists. Yeah, maybe that François Gravel would have won that. So Mike Gartner opened up the scoring in the first from Adam Burt and Wayne Gretzky. It was 1-0 Kings. Then the Oilers scored twice. Then Randy Wood tied the game unassisted. Then the Oilers took the lead again. And then we tied the game again. Wayne Gretzky from Luc Robitaille and Joe Rickey. And then the Oilers took the lead again. It was 4-3 Edmonton after 1. Then in the second period, the Oilers scored 4 unanswered goals. It was 8-3 Edmonton after 2. Then in the third period, Gary Volk scored his 5th short-handed from Randy Wood and Gerald Deduck. It was 8-4, and then Edmonton added 1 more goal at 9-4, ass-kicking. Basil McRae and Gerald Deduck got into a fight. And yep, that's pretty much it about that game. I don't know about French goalies always winning in the early 90s. I did win 10-0 against Patrick Roy in Montreal. A night to remember for Mark Messier. 3 goals and 2 assists against us. Suspension for Kerry Hoffman with the Flyers. He's going to miss 4 games. Oh, Paul Holmgren might lose his job as the coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers are 10-17-9. Dino Ciccarelli extends his goal streak to 8 games. He had a goal and 2 assists. That's a nice little streak. And that's Dave Gagne has 8 games with an assist in that same game. There was no stopping Wendell Clarke, 3 goals and an assist against the Red Wings. Tom Barrasso was picked up by the Sharks, so all of a sudden they have good goaltending. They have Tom Barrasso and Glenn Healy. That's not bad at all. And Gary Galley is completely recovered. The trade interest, I don't know. I'm not trying to trade him. All right. Yeah, I can't trade Irby anyway. I don't have anybody else. Dwayne Rolauson is not ready. He's not developed yet. All right. We are now playing the Flames. Flames are atop of the conference, so that's going to be a tough challenge. They are 24-7-5. We are 0-1-1 against the Flames this season. We have not beaten them. A win here would be pretty good. Irby is back in net. Wow. That's... AT missed 77. Welcome aboard. Alright, so... Talk about a coach giving his player, his goaltender, a little bit of confidence there. So Irby is going to be in net. Wayne Colley is going to be in net for the Flames. Come on, Kings. Give me a W here. All right. Artus Irby gave me a W. Yes, my coach is stubborn. Robbie Stark is stubborn, but he gave me that W, so the stubbornness paid off. 5-3 win here in Calgary. We beat the Flames for the first time of the season. We outshot them 41-37. Luc Robitaille was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Doug Gilmour was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Mike Gartner was the third star with 2 assists. Right, Luc Robitaille opened up the scoring in the first. That was his 25th from Mike Gartner and Wayne Gretzky. Then the Flames scored twice. So it was 2-1 Flames at that point. And then Alexei Gusarov scored from Rick Green, and Luc Robitaille tied at 2 after 1. We had a fight between Theo Fleury and Gerald Deduck, and another fight between Al McInnes and Scott Arniel. Then in the second period, Luc Robitaille scored from Joe Rickey and Ray Shepard, and then Andrew Castle scored from Scott Arniel and Alexei Gusarov. It was 4-2 for the Kings at that point, and then the Flames scored. It was 4-3 after 2. Al McInnes and Joe Rickey got into a fight. And then in the third period, Brian Glynn scored from Luc Robitaille and Mike Gartner, made it 5-3. We had another fight between Dana Merzen and Gerald Deduck. 5-3 is the final score. Victory for the Kings. Alright, so lots of fighting in that one. That's kind of a rivalry game. We're playing against the top team, so I can see where there's a little bit more face punching in that one. I know, but hey, you know what? We won, man. I cannot argue the logic. No, I can argue the logic. I cannot argue the results. Doug Gilmour extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had a goal and an assist against us. No one could stop Ray Ferraro with the Waiters. He had 4 goals against the Islanders. Memorable night for Mario Lemieux. He had 4 assists against the Rangers. And a night to remember for Mark Rickey. He had 3 goals and an assist in that same game. You question my methods, or are you talking... Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you were questioning my methods, which of course you can question all. I don't do things perfectly. Oh, Tommy Albeline is hurt in Quebec. He's gonna miss 4 months with torn ankle ligaments. Ouch. Alright, the scouting, don't care much about that. Alright, and the player Paul. Oh, we don't have anybody in there. The best skater is now Phil Housley playing for the Sabres. The hardest shot, Al McInnes. The toughest, Stu Grimson. Fastest is Paul Coffey. Best role model, Steve Yzerman. Cleanest is still Andy Brickley. Most controversial is Theo Fleury. The most overrated is Brian Fogarty. While the Flames are really well represented in there. Underrated is Nick Lidstrom. Smartest is Randy Gregg. Toughest goalie to beat is Patrick Roy. And the coach you'd most like to play for is Glenn Sater. And that brings us to the last game of December. We are going to be hosting the Vancouver Canucks. Canucks are 11-21-6. That's good for 8 in the conference, and we are 1-1-1 against the Canucks. We're 1-2 against the Canucks. That's true. The one was a loss in overtime. We lost our last game against them 5-2 earlier this month, so hopefully we can win this one here. Back home in front of our fans, come on. Frank Pietrangelo and François Gravel are gonna face each other in this New Year's Eve contest. Go Kings! We lost 6-2. Alright, so We were outshot 33-26 in that one. Barry Peterson was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Tony Tanti was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Greg Adams was the third star with a goal and an assist. Sellout crowd in Inglewood. Canucks scored twice in the first period. Then Adam Burt scored his first of the season from Ray Shepard and Mike Ridley. Then the Canucks scored again. It was 3-1. And then Ron Duguay scored from Robert Reichel and Gary Volk. 3-2 Canucks after 1. Nobody scored in the second period. There was a fight between Gerald Deduck and Rob Zettler. Then in the third period, the Canucks scored 3 unanswered goals. And that was that. A 6-2 loss to end the calendar year. Alright, let's take a look at what we have here. Tony Mckinney has scored 300 goals in his career. He had a goal and an assist against the Sabres. Tony Mckinney is 33 years old and he's a star-and-a-half player. My D is not very good, so I think it's both, to be honest. Brettel has a great game. He had 4 goals and an assist against the Sabres in that same game, and that was 5 straight games with a goal for him. Doug Gilmour extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against the Habs. Brian Bellows extends his assist streak to 8 games with a goal and an assist against Chicago. Dino Ciccarelli in that same game extended his goal streak to 9 games with 2 goals and an assist. A night to remember for Dave Gagne, 4 assists in that same game. And that was 9 straight games with an assist for him. Oh boy. Yeah, let's blame everything on the D. That's it's a thing, right? Blaming only the D for problems. Alright, the top-selling jerseys for the Kings: Wayne Gretzky, Mike Gartner, Luc Robitaille, Arthur Serbe, and Gary Galley. And in the NHL, Wayne Gretzky was 5th, Gartner 17th, and Robitaille 19th. And the best players in the month were Paul Coffey and Don Beaupré, both playing for Pittsburgh. So I guess Pittsburgh had a really good month, huh? Alright, so we end the month exactly where we were at the start of the month, which is 4th in the conference behind the Oilers. We are, however, 5 points back on them now. We do have 2 games on, and we are 6 points behind the Flames with 1 game on them. It's going to be a tight race until the end of the season there. We still have Randy Ladouceur that has a day-to-day injury, but I'm not too worried about that. Let's take a look. So for that era, it makes a lot more sense to look by division because of the playoff format. All right, so Montreal, Quebec, Boston, Buffalo set to be in the playoffs. So basically, in the Wales Conference, Hartford, Philadelphia, and the Islanders right now are slated to miss the playoffs. And on our side, Detroit. Wow, Detroit is not looking too good right now. So Detroit, Winnipeg, and San Jose are slated to miss the play. Oh dear God, San Jose has a minus 86 goal differential. After only 39 games played. That's not good, folks. Alright, let's take a look at our stats. Let's see what that says. Yeah, it is pretty rough. Alright, so Gretzky, of course, is first in scoring, 69 points in 34 games, but that's not the kind of domination that we're used to see from Wayne. 65 in 37 for Robitaille, 57 in 37 for Gartner, 43 for Ray Shepard, and then it goes down from there. Gary Gatti is our best offensive defenseman, 25 points in 33 games. So the offense, at least for us, seems to be... I mean, we still have 4 guys that are over a point per game, but we don't seem as dominant. I did hear that, yes. So Montreal is going to be able to get something. I also saw that that the Avs named Chantal Machabé as the new VP for communications for the team. She was like on the sports network in Quebec since 1989 or something like that. I remember being a kid eating my cereals in the morning before going to work, and she was like reading the sports news. Alright, now in the entire league, let's see. Wayne Gretzky is the best goal scorer, tied with Brett Hull, 33 goals apiece. Joe Sakic is the best passer with 48 assists, and the best scorer is actually Joe Sakic with 71 points. Gretzky is second with 69. So yeah, Wayne Gretzky is not the best scorer in the league. I demand a refund. Right, now for goaltenders, we're not gonna see our goaltenders here anywhere. Yep. We're there for wins, but yeah, François Gravel has a 893 save percentage. That's not all that great. Yeah. Greg Millen is having a really good season at age 34. That's worth mentioning, I think. Alright, we're going to go ahead and save the game. Well, keep in mind keep in mind that's what Montreal wants for Ben Chiarot. That doesn't mean that's what they're gonna get. You know, it all depends on the demand that's gonna be there for him. But yeah, it seems like there's gonna be pretty good demand, so you should be getting a good return for him. 893 in the early 90s is a little bit on the weak side. Like, we're starting to shift into where goaltenders are starting to have better stats slowly. So anyway, all right, man, I hope everything's gonna go all right with your car and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and stop here for today. So next time out, we're gonna do January. I'm gonna try to have a trade ready before I go live so that we have something to get excited about. But anyway, all right, well, I'll see you around as well. Take care of yourself, and Happy New Year, everybody. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you folks next time. Thank you.